Absolutely everybody I know loves to save money and shop on a budget as soon as possible, whenever they can. Today I'm bringing you 10 items that are under $50 that are perfect for woodworking. Let's start off with the first item. The Festool Domino. Hey, you said budget items, not Festool. Oh, all right, I'm sorry. Forgot we're keeping a budget for this one. I want to get started off by saying I am not sponsored by any of these companies whatsoever. These are tools I use in my shop every day, day in, day out, and I just bought them with my own money. They weren't even sent to me. That being said, let's get started with number one. If you followed my channel for any point in time, you have seen this thing. It's the GlueBot by FastCap, and I absolutely love it. It's super easy. You can fit an entire 16-ounce bottle of glue into this thing, and there's easy cap to pull off. No more having to struggle to pop that cap off, and no more banging the bottom of the bottle to get the glue out. You just press it and you can see it go up just like that. Makes it super easy. You can spread your stuff on, slide it over, and you're good to go. Another good thing about this is the tip does not clog. Occasionally, if you let it sit long enough without this little plastic cover on it, it will start to gum up a little bit. I usually just take a razor blade in here and that little bit of glue just pulls right out. But it doesn't ever get like a solid lock to it like the normal tight bond bottles will. And you struggle and you hurt your fingers trying to get that thing off. You don't have to worry about that with this. Just pop it off, good to go. It's got a little piece right here that holds a little rubber cap. So it's out of your way, it's never in the way of you gluing, and you're good to go. Oh, and stick around to the end of the video. If you own a track saw, I have a super budget item that was a game changer for me. So make sure to watch to the end, because if you have a track saw, you'll absolutely love this product. Let's get started with item number two. This is the Klein digital angle gauge. I only use it really for one thing in here. It does help with setting up machines, but I use it to set my angle on my table saw. How you do that? It's got a magnet on the bottom. So like you see my chisels back here, boom, throw it on, it stays connected on there. And it don't go anywhere. And it's good up to the 10th degree. Besides just setting up the angle for your table saw blade, setting the angle to sharpen your chisels. And you can use it to find your angle that you want. So I know I usually sharpen mine to about 25 degrees, lock it in, and then you're good to go, and you know that you're going to get a 25-degree sharpened bevel every time with the help of this tool. Now we want to move on to setting up stuff. I got another tool for you. But these are setup blocks. They go all the way down from a 1/16 of an inch up to you get a 1, 2, 3 block. So you got 1 inch this way, 2 inches this way, 3 inches this way. It comes in this plastic case that has foam cutouts in it. So you can keep all your setup blocks organized in space, and then you don't have to worry about dropping them and getting them damaged. Another part about these that I like is they have arrows on them telling you which direction to actually measure, because this way might be a little bit different than this way. Now, are these machinist level quality setup blocks? I wouldn't say that, obviously. I'm sure they're maybe a thou or two off. But honestly, wood moves more than the variance that you're going to get in a difference of one of these. You can set your router bit height, table saw height. If you want to just measure out gaps for dados, that's also perfect. This is just another great addition to have in the shop. Especially, even just a setup block alone. You can't really beat it. This here, to me, brings the most value in my shop more than most of the items I'm going to mention today. Just because I'm a huge person when it comes to dust collection, and this makes the process thoughtless and so easy. It is a Ortis vacuum switch. So you have one switch on the top, or one plug on the top that goes towards your vacuum. And then you have two other plugs that you can use to put in two different tools. So if you have your miter saw and your table saw hooked up to the same shop vac, you can plug in your miter saw here, your table saw there. It has an auto switch on here. So what happens is as soon as you put power to whatever tool it is you have hooked up to it, the vacuum will automatically turn on and start to suck the dust. Once you stop giving it power, it will stop the vacuum. It usually stays on for, I think it's like 3 to 5 seconds, just so it sucks the rest of that dust out of the hose, so you don't ever have to worry about it. Bonus tip I will show you is a vacuum that you can use to bounce to different machines if you only wanted to get one of these and move the vacuum hose whenever you wanted to. That bonus item would be this here. This is a hose from Cen-Tec. And it's got one end that goes into your vacuum. It's got a couple different sizes the kit actually comes with. And then you have an end with a quick disconnect on it. So you can leave this on certain tools, or they have one with like a flange that's a little bit bigger. This works perfect for my table saw. Or you can use something like this for a sander, such, whatever else you want to use it for. And then it just clips in. Boom. You're good to go. So if you wanted to use just one of these switches, you could have this hose and say you had your table saw and your sander. Well, you could use your table saw, whatever, it'll automatically work. And then whenever you want to switch to your sander, you make sure your sander's plugged into here, hook your hose up to it. As soon as you turn your sander on, this thing's gonna start sucking. You get the good suck with this hose. One of the most important tools in your shop is safety. This is a face mask by Basecamp. They've actually reached out to me before, but I bought this with my own money before I even started YouTube, and I absolutely love it. Using a router and a sander, it's always a good idea to use a mask. I like this one. It's got loops that goes around your ears, so you don't have to worry about it hanging off. And then it's got a Velcro strap that you just push around your neck and then tighten it up. So no matter what size neck, head, if you got a big old head, you got a little small head, you can make this thing fit. Another great thing about it is it's got filters on the inside. I think these are kind of like just an N95 or something in that neighborhood, and they replace. So it's easy, you just twist off, and that whole filter will come out, and then you can replace it just like that. They claim that it's 99.6% filtration from dust, pollen, odors, and other airborne particles. Now, I will tell you, I've used this during spray painting and stuff like that. It doesn't block the odors out too much. Of course, this isn't really meant for spray painting. It's just a dust mask. You can have all the air filtration you want in your shop, but it doesn't hurt to put another safety measure under your belt. This isn't as much of a tool as it is a consumable that you'll use in your shop, but this is woodworking tape. I actually just got this, not but maybe 2 weeks ago or so. Want to stick two pieces of wood together that you can easily get apart? Woodworking tape is where it's at. It's super easy to put on, and then it comes off with zero residue. I use it in my last project making actually the camera arm that my camera's sitting on here. If you haven't watched that, check that one out. I'll make sure to put a link up in the corner. But it does leave no residue whatsoever whenever you're using it. If you do any kind of template routing, this is a lifesaver, and this is a must in your shop. This is one of those items that you can spend a lot of money on, or you can go the budget route. What this is, it turns your normal handheld drill into, guess what? A drill press. Now, I haven't used this thing in a little while, so the rails are a little bit gummed up. I really need to take the time and kind of scrape them down a little bit, put a little grease on there, and then it'll be good to go. Now this thing has a 3/8 chuck, so you can fit most of your drill bits that you want to fit up into here with no issue. Lock it down like you would on a normal drill press. It also has a depth stop on it, so you can set however deep you want to drill, whatever bit you're using, slides up and down along the entire rail, and you can use it just like that. It comes with the good old locking chuck that everybody usually loses, but they thought about this, because on the bottom here you got a little rubber piece that this will slide into, so stay there and you don't lose it. Take it out, tighten your bit, whatever you got to tighten, and then you are good to go. If you have ever made a box and tried to clamp it up, you know how much of a pain it could be trying to use normal clamps. This whole strap can pull out here, and then it comes with these little corner protectors that easily just slot in here. So say if this was a box you just got done making, it's just a router table or a router bit box for me. But say you just got done making yourself a little box. Once you get everything set up the way you want to, you just reel in your slack and then you just ratchet it down. And this puts even pressure on all four corners of the project you're trying to work on and keeps it nice and tight. I actually have 2 of these that I keep in my shop. Another great addition to the shop. Now this tool here, there's really not much to talk about. Most people know what they do. Most people know exactly what they are. But I just wanted to mention it because it's a cheap set that I use. And it's actually got an adjustable bit on there for your countersink. So that's the good part. Also, it drills your pilot hole in the same time that it, does your countersink bit. And I gotta say, I love these things. I use them on almost every single one of my projects that have some kind of, fastener in it. I definitely use these. Like I said, it's just a countersink bit. Not much to say about it, but they're great and cheap. The last item before we get to the bonus item kind of speaks for itself again. It's a thin rip jig, so it makes thin strips of wood. It's basically that simple. Slides into the miter slot of your table saw. You put it on the left side of the blade, and then you kind of just set however thick of a thin strip of wood you want and run it through, and it makes, guess what? A thin strip, because it is a thin strip jig. Thin rip jig. Strips of wood that are very small, some would call thin. That's basically it with this thing. For projects that are like cutting boards, this is super useful. A lot of people like to do, especially if they have like a bandsaw or just want to do thin accent strips of a nice exotic wood. You throw this thin rip jig on and you can make yourself some super thin strips, throw that in your cutting board or whatever else you're making, and it makes it super pretty. Cheap, affordable, has a little bearing on the end just to make the wood roll through just fine, and you are good to go. Let's get on to this bonus item. Before we do, if you've made it this far in the video, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. This is the first video doing kind of like a product thing. If you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments and I can do more things like this. If you hated it, let me know. I'll stop doing this and I'll stick to building stuff. If you did enjoy it, please let me know. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you can. It's completely free on your end and it helps me out a lot. Lets me know you appreciate my video and helps push my channel to a bigger audience, which at the end of the day, I'm trying to get out there and help as many people as I can, learn, save money if they can, spend money if they want to. Thank you if you made it this far. Let's get on to this bonus item. If you own a track saw, in my opinion, this is an absolute must-have in your shop. Once again, this is like some of the other items. This is a budget option. I'm sure it's not 100% perfectly square, like what a machinist would like, but it works more than enough for me for woodworking. It is a square for your track saw. All you have to do is it's got this slot there, slides into, make sure these are out the way, slide it on, then you got these 2 clamps. And just like that, you have turned your track saw track into a big square. One of my favorite little parts about it is it has this little doodad here that you can tighten down. So if you have it on a board, and this will hold the square from going down and the entire track twisting. This is one of the cheapest track saw squares you can get, but I love it. I've used it on a lot of my projects. Like I said, it's not machinist level quality square. I would highly doubt that. Considering the price on it, it's like 30 bucks on Amazon. It is a must have if you own a track saw. Well, that's all I got for you guys when it comes to budget items. If you enjoyed this video, like I said, please, let me know in the comments if you want to see videos like this, if you don't want to see videos like this, you loved it, you hate it, whatever. Give me some feedback because this is my first time making a video like this. And I want to know if I need to keep making videos like this. If you guys enjoy this, if it helps you out, if there's something I can change, just give me some feedback. That's all I'm asking for. If you've made it this far in the video, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, get in your shop, build something, and stay salty.